Have you ever had someone come at you, thinking they were smarter, more clever, or more powerful? They thought they had everything figured out, carefully plotting your downfall, setting traps, and whispering behind your back. They underestimated one crucial thing. They were betting against their own future. They assumed that by playing you, they would somehow gain an upper hand, but in reality, they only dug their own grave. What they failed to realize is that the universe doesn't let those who act with deceit and manipulation come out on top. Chosen ones, you are here today because you've experienced this firsthand. You felt the weight of someone's sneaky words, their behind-the-scenes schemes, and their false sense of superiority. They thought you were just another pawn in their game, someone they could control, trick, or use. But they were wrong. The very moment they tried to play you, whether it was through deceit, manipulation, or passive-aggressive tactics, was the moment they lost control of the situation. They thought they were smarter, more calculated, but what they didn't understand is that they were playing a game they didn't know the rules to. The moment they believed they were outsmarting you, everything started to shift. They laughed, they talked too much, and they made their moves without realizing the consequences that would follow. But here's the catch. While they were busy celebrating their victory, you were quietly building the foundation for your own. And just like a well-laid foundation, it wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was steady, silent, and unwavering. It was a foundation that would eventually support your rise and their collapse. You didn't need to expose them, you didn't need to retaliate, and you certainly didn't need to get caught up in their chaos. One simple, calm move from you flipped the entire game in your favor. People who are truly powerful don't have to make a scene. They don't need to prove their worth by drawing attention. They don't need to chase validation or force outcomes. They operate with a quiet, unshakable confidence that doesn't need loud declarations or flashy victories. And that's exactly why those who try to play you, those who attempt to manipulate and control you, are always the ones who end up losing in the end. They're only drawn to you because they see something in you they can't control or replicate. They see strength. And when people see strength, they get scared. They get insecure. And insecurity breeds manipulation. What the enemy never understood about you is that you were never playing their game. While they were focused on trying to control you, trying to outsmart you, try to bend you to their will, you were simply focused on your own growth. You were focused on becoming who you were meant to be, walking your own path without needing permission or validation. And that right there, that peace, that calm, that stability is what scared them the most. You weren't reacting to their moves. You weren't being pulled into their drama. Instead, you were so rooted in your own purpose that the noise around you didn't matter. You were focused, aligned, and moving forward with quiet certainty. And that's why they lost. The truth is, if you weren't powerful, they wouldn't have targeted you in the first place. If you weren't rising, they wouldn't have been watching. The fact that they tried to undermine you, manipulate you, and plot against you is the loudest proof that you were always ahead. Even when you appeared silent, even when you were simply living your life without making a fuss, you were already on top. Your quiet strength, your inner power was always too much for them to handle. So they plotted, they schemed, they tried to outmaneuver you. But what they never understood is that the universe doesn't reward manipulation. It doesn't reward the desperate. It rewards those who are in alignment, those who remain grounded no matter what chaos surrounds them. And that's where they made their fatal mistake. Their plans were based on fear, not strength. Fear of you, fear of your power, fear of what they couldn't control. And that fear made them sloppy. It made them lose sight of the bigger picture. It made them underestimate the power of someone who is quietly aligned with their purpose. As the universe often does, it quietly corrects when someone tries to manipulate it. It doesn't scream or shout, but it always works in the background, rearranging the pieces, ensuring that balance is restored. And that's exactly what's happening now. You didn't have to fight back. You didn't have to get caught up in the drama. You didn't have to prove anything to anyone. All you had to do was remain steady, remain grounded, and allow the universe to do its work. And now, here they are, scrambling, confused, and faced with the consequences of their own actions. Here's the uncomfortable truth for them. When they try to play you, they didn't just lose the game. They lost control of their entire situation. They miscalculated, they moved too soon, and now they're left with nothing but the wreckage of their own making. And you're still standing. You're still moving forward, untouched, undeterred, and more powerful than ever. The truth is, the very moment they try to play you, the universe already saw them for who they were. And that moment, it was their undoing. So, thank you, Chosen One, for being here. Thank you for staying steady, for trusting the process, for not being swayed by the noise or the chaos. You didn't react to their attempts to manipulate you. You didn't engage in their schemes. You just kept walking forward, and now, the universe has made its move. The path is clear, the balance has shifted, and they are left in the dust of their own mistakes. You were never meant to fall into their trap, because, in the end, the trap wasn't for you. It was for them. And now, they have to face the consequences of trying to play the wrong person. Before we dive deeper into how this all unfolded, take a moment to reflect on where you are right now. If what you're hearing feels accurate, if it resonates deeply within you, that's no coincidence. That's alignment. The universe has been moving quietly on your behalf, shifting things behind the scenes to bring you to this moment. And now, it's time to see how your calm, your consistency, and your unwavering focus became the one move that destroyed everything they thought they controlled. From the moment they targeted you, the enemy miscalculated. They believed they had you figured out. They saw you as someone who could be manipulated, someone whose reactions they could control. To them, you were just another player in their game, another piece to move around on their chessboard. They didn't realize that by trying to outsmart you, they had already lost. What they couldn't see was the depth of your inner strength. They thought your quiet demeanor was weakness. They believed your patience meant passivity. They looked at your calm and assumed that you were unaware, that you were blind to their schemes. But what they didn't know is that silence isn't a sign of ignorance. It's the sign of someone who is in control. You weren't playing their game because you didn't need to. You were playing your own, and you understood something they never did. Control isn't about dominating others. It's about mastering yourself. The enemy mistook your silence for submission, and that was their greatest error. In their eyes, silence meant that you were defeated, that you were afraid to speak up, that you lacked the strength to fight back. But in reality, your silence was the calm before the storm, the quiet strength that only those who understand true power can maintain. They saw your ability to remain unfazed and assumed it was a crack they could exploit. They underestimated your resilience, thinking that by creating chaos, by stirring up conflict, they could force you to react. But every time they tried to provoke you, you stayed grounded. And that was their downfall. They were too focused on the noise, on trying to get you to react, to rise to their bait. What they failed to realize is that the real power lies not in reacting, but in choosing not to. They didn't understand that every time they tried to push you, you were actually stepping further and further away from their influence. Their schemes, their whispers, their plots, they only exposed their own fear and instability. They never once realized that the more they tried to manipulate the situation, the more they were setting themselves up for failure. They thought they had the upper hand, but in truth, they were already losing. Their desperation was evident. Their need to control the narrative, to create division and discord, was a sign of their fear. They feared your strength, your calm, and your ability to rise without their assistance. They feared that you were unshakable, that nothing they did could really touch you. So they did everything in their power to destabilize you, to sow doubt in others, and to try and get you to slip up. But all of that only showed their desperation, and desperation has a funny way of revealing the truth. Desperation is never a solid foundation. When someone acts out of fear, their actions are always rushed, hasty, and unplanned. They lose their focus and become sloppy. Every lie they told, every attempt they made to undermine you was rooted in this fear. Fear of your power, fear of your resilience, fear of your calm. And when you're driven by fear, you lose the clarity needed to make wise decisions. The universe, on the other hand, rewards those who remain calm, those who are grounded and aligned with their true purpose. You didn't need a rush. You didn't need to react to their noise. You simply needed to stay steady, and that alone was enough to expose their flaws. While they were busy whispering behind your back, plotting their next move, you were quietly moving forward. They thought they could play you, but what they didn't realize was that you were already ahead of them. You weren't looking for validation. You weren't scrambling to protect yourself. You were aligned with something greater. They underestimated that. They underestimated the power of alignment and patience. And then came the moment when everything flipped. The enemy had thought they had you cornered, but one move, one simple, silent shift from you, completely turned the game on its head. And what did you do? Nothing dramatic, nothing flashy. You didn't yell, you didn't confront them, you didn't expose them. You simply stayed grounded, stayed aligned, and let the universe do its work. That right there was the key. The enemy thought that they were in control because they believed you would react to their chaos. But the truth is, they were never in control. The moment they tried to provoke you, they sealed their own fate. Their desperation was the sign of their loss. And your calm? That was the power that broke them. You see, when someone is aligned, when they're grounded in their own truth, nothing can shake them. The universe doesn't need to force anything. It simply moves in response to your alignment. Your inner peace, your unshakable confidence, was the force that led to their downfall. And they never saw it coming. In their minds, you were weak. In their minds, you were silent because you had no choice but to be. But they couldn't have been more wrong. You were silent not because you had no power, but because you had more power than they could ever understand. Your silence was a reflection of your control. Your silence was a testament to the fact that you didn't need to prove anything to them. You were already ahead of them. And now, as they watched everything slip away from them, they were left confused and helpless, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. They tried to outsmart you, to manipulate the situation in their favor. But what they didn't realize is that the universe is far more powerful than any manipulation or scheme. The universe responds to alignment, to those who walk in their purpose and stay true to themselves. And as they tried to force outcomes, to manipulate the narrative, the universe quietly worked in your favor, turning the tide without you lifting a finger. That's the power of being aligned. That's the power of staying grounded and focused. It doesn't require dramatic moves or forceful tactics. It simply requires you to be steady, to trust the process, and to allow the universe to handle the rest. They thought they were the ones pulling the strings, but they were simply puppets to their own fear. And in the end, their fear destroyed them, while you continued to rise, untouched by their chaos. The key takeaway here, chosen one, is this. The universe doesn't reward desperation. It rewards alignment. When you remain grounded, when you trust in your own power and stay true to your path, the universe aligns everything in your favor. The enemy tried to play you, but they were never playing the same game. They thought they were in control, but in reality, they were simply building their own downfall. Your stability, your calm, your alignment was always the true source of power. And that's the truth they'll never understand. So let them play their games. Let them plot their schemes. Because no matter what they try, no matter how hard they push, they'll never be able to break someone who is aligned with their purpose. You were never meant to fight. You were never meant to react. All you needed to do was stay steady. And in doing so, you've already won. They're playing a game they don't understand. And you, chosen one, are the one who has already won it. This is the power of alignment. This is the power of being grounded in your truth. And this is how you win without lifting a finger. The enemy's downfall wasn't a mere stroke of bad luck or a series of unfortunate events. No, their collapse was a direct result of the very actions they took to try and bring you down. They thought they could manipulate, deceive, and control the narrative, believing they had all the pieces in place to orchestrate your failure. What they didn't realize is that the universe, in its quiet and unyielding way, had already set the stage for their unraveling. Every betrayal, every lie, every underhanded move they made only served to create cracks in their foundation. Cracks that, over time, would grow wider, eventually causing their entire world to collapse under its own weight. At first, the enemy may have felt like they were winning. They were pulling strings, making their moves, trying to outwit you and those around them. But what they didn't anticipate was the inevitable consequence of their own actions. They acted out of fear, desperation, and a need to control. And when people act from these places, they create chaos, not just for others, but for themselves. Desperation doesn't breed stability, it breeds instability. Every lie they told, every scheme they concocted, added another layer of pressure to their already fragile foundation. They thought they were building a fortress, but in truth, they were constructing a house of cards. And the higher they built it, the harder it would fall when the first gust of truth blew through. People who scheme, manipulate, and act for a place of fear are like architects designing buildings without considering the foundation. They cut corners, take shortcuts, and ignore the cracks in their plans, assuming they can get away with it. But eventually, those cracks will show. And when they do, the entire structure they've built starts to crumble. They're caught in a vicious cycle, trying to prop up lies with more lies, manipulating others to cover up their wrongdoings, all while their own foundation, based on fear, deceit, and chaos, grows weaker. The universe has a way of turning everything back onto itself. It doesn't need to do anything but let time do its work. As the enemy continued their manipulations, they believed they were getting away with it. But every step they took to control the narrative was another step they took away from stability. Their lies began to snowball, and with each new deceit, their world started to spiral out of control. The more they try to trap you in their game, the more they expose their own flaws, their own weaknesses. They couldn't see it at first, blinded by their need for power, but they were digging their own grave with every false move. It was only a matter of time before their world came crashing down. They believed they were playing a game with you, but the truth is they were playing themselves. They didn't need to be taken down by you or anyone else. Their own actions, rooted in fear, desperation, and manipulation, were already setting the stage for their collapse. And as each of their lies became harder to maintain, as each of their manipulations was exposed, the walls they built around themselves began to crumble. What they didn't realize is that their actions were already boomeranging back to them, exposing their vulnerabilities for all to see. In the end, it wasn't your actions that caused their downfall. It was theirs. They sowed the seeds of their own destruction, and now they had to face the consequences. The enemy's downfall wasn't random. It was inevitable. And the greatest tragedy of all is that they never realized that they were the ones responsible for it. Throughout all of this, you didn't need to lift a finger. You didn't need to fight back, expose them, or confront them directly. You didn't need to stoop to their level. You didn't need to get tangled in their web of lies. Why? Because the truth always has a way of revealing itself. And in the end, it's truth that does the work, not anger or retaliation. You understood that, chosen one. You didn't waste your energy trying to fight back. You didn't get caught up in the noise. While they were busy manipulating the situation, you were quietly allowing truth and time to reveal the real story. You stayed calm. You stayed grounded. And in doing so, you allowed the universe to take care of the rest. As time passed, the enemy's confidence began to erode. At first, they felt invincible, like their manipulation and deceit would carry them to victory. But as their plans unraveled, their sense of control slipped away. People who once trusted them began to notice inconsistencies in their stories. Those who once followed them started to question their motives. And the very web they had woven to trap you began to catch them instead. Slowly, the cracks they had so carefully hidden began to surface, and they could no longer cover up the truth. What the enemy failed to understand is that their hastiness, their rush to control, to manipulate, to win at all costs, was their undoing. In their desperation to win, they didn't stop to think about the long-term consequences of their actions. They didn't realize that truth, like water, always finds its way to the surface. No matter how deep you bury it, it always rises. And when it does, it's impossible to ignore. In contrast, you didn't force outcomes. You didn't try to control the narrative. You didn't need to. Your patience, your stability, your alignment with the truth, those are the forces that ultimately shifted everything. The universe didn't reward manipulation. It rewarded those who are steady, those who trust in the process and allow things to unfold naturally. While the enemy rushed and plotted, you took your time. You didn't need to engage in their drama. You didn't need to prove anything. You simply stayed aligned with your truth. And the universe took care of the rest. The most powerful part of all this is that you didn't react to their chaos. You didn't allow their desperation to pull you into their drama. You simply continued to rise, to move forward, to stay true to yourself. And while you stayed steady, they spiraled. As their manipulation began to unravel, their confidence cracked. They couldn't hold it together anymore. Their lies began to break apart, and all the things they tried to hide were exposed. They thought they could control you, chosen one. They thought they could break you. But in truth, it was their own actions that led to their collapse. They couldn't see it at first, but now, as the dust settles, the truth is clear. They tried to manipulate you, but they only manipulated themselves. They tried to outsmart you, but they only outsmarted themselves. And now, they're left facing the consequences of their own actions, while you continue to move forward, grounded and aligned with your truth. This is the lesson, chosen one. When you act with patience, when you stay aligned with your truth, nothing can shake you. The universe rewarded alignment, not manipulation. Your calm wasn't a weakness. It was your greatest strength. And while the enemy's desperation led to their downfall, your steady progress was the force that propelled you forward. They tried to play the game of deception, but they didn't understand the rules. You didn't need to fight back. You didn't need to engage with their lies. You just needed to stay true to yourself. And in doing so, you allowed the universe to do what it does best, correct the imbalance. They thought they were controlling the situation, but they never realized that they were already out of control. They thought they could manipulate the narrative, but they never realized that truth is the most powerful force in the universe. So, while they were busy scheming, you were quietly building your momentum. You were steadily moving forward, focused on your own growth. And in doing so, you let the universe clear the path for you. Their plans didn't fail because of anything you did. They failed because they were built on fear, on lies, and on manipulation. And those things cannot withstand the truth. The enemy's downfall wasn't a coincidence. It was a direct result of their own actions. They created their own chaos. They sowed their own seeds of destruction. And now, they're left dealing with the fallout of their own mistakes. Meanwhile, you're still moving forward, steady, grounded, and unstoppable. And that's the real victory. You didn't need to fight back. You didn't need to explain yourself. All you needed to do was stay true to your path, and the universe did the rest. That's the power of alignment. That's the power of staying grounded in your truth. And that's the power that will continue to carry you forward, no matter how loud the chaos around you becomes. There's a deep, unshakable power that comes from being grounded, an inherent strength that can withstand any storm. And as you stand in the aftermath of the chaos created by the enemy, it's important to understand the true magnitude of what just happened. You didn't need to fight back. You didn't need to engage in their drama. You didn't need to explain yourself or rush to defend your character. The true power you possess was always in your ability to stay grounded, calm, and aligned with your purpose. While they desperately scrambled for control, you quietly moved forward, unbothered by their attempts to destabilize you. In the world we live in, it's easy to get caught up in the noise, to feel pressure to react when others push our buttons, to feel the need to fight back when we are wronged. But the greatest strength lies in resisting that temptation, in choosing not to react in ways that lower our energy, but instead to remain steady, anchored in our truth. The power of being grounded is not flashy. It's not loud or aggressive. It is a quiet, undeniable force that has the ability to outlast any manipulation, any game, any challenge. Your calmness and ability to maintain focus in the face of adversity are what set you apart. While others tried to manipulate situations, spreading lies and sowing discord, you understood something they didn't. True power doesn't need to fight. True power simply stays aligned. True power doesn't force its way through obstacles. It moves around them, or better yet, it allows them to dissolve on their own. And that's exactly what happened here. The enemy, so consumed by their need to control, never understood the true nature of stability. They believed that chaos was power, that manipulation would give them the upper hand. They were convinced that winning meant controlling every variable, bending others to their will, and dictating every outcome. But in their desperation, they failed to realize that the greatest form of power comes from within. Stability isn't about force. It's about patience. It's about trusting the process, knowing that time and truth are always on your side. In the end, their need to control, to manipulate, to dictate outcomes led to their downfall. They were consumed by their own fear and desperation, and it was this very fear that caused them to unravel. They couldn't understand why their efforts weren't working. They couldn't comprehend why their schemes kept falling apart. It's because they were operating from a place of fear, from a place of instability, and that energy can only create more instability. You, on the other hand, were not swayed by their noise. You were not influenced by their chaos. You remained steady, grounded in your own truth, aligned with your purpose. And that alone was enough to bring their plans crashing down. Stability, patience, and clarity always outlast chaos and manipulation. The enemy's frantic need for control only served to expose their weakness, while your calm and steady presence became the very thing that broke their false narrative. Looking back, it's clear that the enemy's loss was inevitable the moment they tried to play you. They underestimated you. They thought they could manipulate you, and they believed they had the upper hand. But in reality, they were never playing the right game. They tried to use the rules of manipulation, deceit, and control, but those rules don't work when you are aligned with truth. They try to force you into a position of weakness, but they fail to see that you were already positioned in strength. From the very beginning, you were never playing their game. They try to drag you into their chaos, but you never took the bait. Instead, you stayed rooted in your truth, focused on your purpose, and steadily moved forward, knowing that the universe would take care of the rest. You didn't need to fight back or prove yourself because you understood something fundamental. The universe doesn't reward manipulation. It rewards alignment. Now, as the dust settles and the consequences of their actions unfold, it's clear that they were never going to win. They thought they were outsmarting you, but they were only outsmarting themselves. They tried to outplay you, but they couldn't outlast your stability. And as they continue to wrestle with the consequences of their own mistakes, you continue to rise, unwavering, unshaken, and unstoppable. Their downfall was not your doing. It was the result of their own actions, of their own choices. They tried to make you their enemy, but in the end, they became their own worst enemy. They were never going to break you because your power was never in fighting back. Your power was always in your ability to remain calm, grounded, and aligned with your truth. And that is what gave you the ultimate victory. As you continue your journey, remember this. You don't need to look back or feel bad about the enemy's downfall. Their collapse was not something you orchestrated. It was the inevitable result of their own actions. The universe doesn't require you to take revenge or to fight back when others try to manipulate you. All it requires is that you stay aligned with your truth, trust the process, and keep moving forward. Your rise is unstoppable because you move with purpose and alignment, not with chaos and fear. The path ahead of you is clear, and as you continue to walk it, you will see more and more of the illusions others tried to build around you crumble. So, don't get distracted by the chaos of others. Don't let their noise pull you off course. Stay grounded in your truth, remain aligned with your purpose, and keep moving forward. The enemy's actions have no power over you. Their schemes were designed to break you, but they only broke themselves. You were never meant to fall into their trap. You were meant to rise above it. You are grounded in something far more powerful than their manipulation. You are aligned with the truth, and that truth is what will carry you through any obstacle. So, as you move forward, continue to do so with purpose, with clarity, and with unwavering faith in yourself and the process. The universe has already cleared the path for you, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in your way now. Keep walking, chosen one. Your rise is inevitable, and it's happening right now. The universe is with you, and your stability, your calm, your alignment is the force that will carry you forward. The game is over for them, and for you, it's just the beginning. So walk confidently, walk steadily, and know that with each step, you are moving closer to the destiny that was always meant for you. The enemy tried to play you, but in the end, they played themselves. And now, you're standing tall, still moving, still grounded, and still on your path to greatness. Keep rising, chosen one. The best is yet to come.